All right, I'm not going to give much of an intro. Next episode, I'm blanking on the number for it, but today we're talking about Christmas movies. Thanks, Nick, for coming back. And yeah, so I think it's Christmas Eve here, 2 days before you, I guess, at your time.
Yeah, we're Christmas Eve.
Ah, fucker. All right, so Christmas movies. I think one of the ones that I rewatched recently was the Polar Express. I don't know if you ever seen that one.
Of course, I love Polar Express.
Well, like I feel like it's become one of those movies where like it's sort of a Christmas classic, but it's like the one everybody shits on at the same time.
Yeah, it's like people kind of hate to admit that it's become a classic because it has like weird things associated with it.
Well, it was one of those first movies that where they did motion capture. I think it was like
Yeah,
the first big movie that did that, and like the animation for it is just it's in the uncanny valley. Just it looks extremely creepy.
that's the main thing. That's the animation is just very weird and
Yeah.
creepy.
Now I showed it to my I showed it to this girl I'm dating and to like my classes, like for my students. But when I showed it to this girl I'm dating, I think we're like 20 minutes in, so we're still in like the first act where like the boy gets on the train and then there are all these other kids on it. And she goes into it, and I should point out like she doesn't celebrate Christmas. So so she points out like, is this guy like this conductor like a pedophile or something? Just like kidnapping all these kids. I'm like, maybe, I don't know. That's
I mean, that's a fair point. That's
yeah.
a spin-off for
They're,
sure,
they're-
right?
I mean, Tom Hanks, dude. Tom Hanks, the criminal right there, the master criminal, right? But it is a dark plot when you think about it. Just this guy just kidnaps these kids in the middle of the night and just tells them they're going to the North Pole.
Yeah, it takes them to an imaginary place with little elves.
It was all just a dream.
Yeah, then they wake up with, well, emotional scars or whatever you've been told that you need to learn. all sorts of things.
The key thing is don't tell anybody. You just have to believe it happened.
Yeah. Just gotta believe. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I actually like the Polar Express a lot, and Christmas time I'll try and watch it because I think it's one of the best like Christmas adventure movies. Like that's the main thing I like about it. It's such a cool, like fun adventure.
I have to agree with that because I think if there's any praise that I consistently give for it, it's like the mystique, the allure of like the world that they're building, and
Yeah.
like and it's like just like I think like a good fun like movie to watch. Like there's the animation, but like in terms of like some of the POV shots they have in there with like them going on the train, like kind of going down like the hill, kind of
Yeah.
going exploring the North Pole. I think like it's there's like the allure with it that it feels like exciting. It feels real.
Yeah, it's the train scene is like so thrilling, so exhilarating. Like,
Hmm.
and, the POV shot is a great way to kind of to get that feeling out. Another part I like is like when they're going through the empty North Pole.
Hmm.
Like that's another feeling of exhilaration. Like you're exploring some place where you're not supposed to be. You don't want to
Hmm.
be caught, and I think that's another just like fun little sequence in there. That just
Hmm.
adds to just the mystique of everything.
Exactly. And honestly, like when I watched my students watched it, I was like they were most blown away by those sort of scenes, like the wonder scenes, or like even like it wasn't necessarily like any of the singing scenes, they were not into that at all. And I feel like if there's anything to poke at, it's those scenes in particular. Like,
Yeah.
but the scenes where they were like wowing the most was where like they had like the train going up like the mountain, like kind of having the North Pole in the distance, like the north, like kind of taking a peek at like northern lights. It's kind of like those scenes of wonder that they are like super fascinated with.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
And then yeah, I think it does a good job of that. Like Yeah, I mean, it's cool. And then the whole thing with the bell, and you can't hear the bell.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know. I just think that's, yeah, just more mystery, I guess, to the whole thing, and just another element, uh, throughout. That's pretty fun.
Mhm. Well, like I think the one like my favorite shot is probably like one of the last shots in the movie where it kind of ends with just like the just kind of like the single on the bell, like it's the hero boy, just like that is his credit, by the way, hero boy. That's the character's
Really?
name, hero boy. But he
Hilarious.
places the bell on the table and it just kind of ends with this like nice single of that, and it just like it's like the solo kind of like subtle high angle on the bell. It just like I feel like it's just like it's like a nice warm wrap up at the end, but it just feels like like a nice but like I just really like that shot. It just felt like a nice like kind of tie-in, like or like not tie-in,
Yeah.
like everything feels wrapped up well.
Yeah. So you said your kids weren't as enamored by the singing scenes, but what about the hot chocolate scene? Gotta love that scene.
That's the exception. Like I'm talking
Okay.
about specifically like the yeah, I think you know the scene where I'm talking about where they're in the caboose and they're just like
Yes.
singing out loud. They're just like that. They were not into that scene at all.
Too cheesy, maybe?
I think it was cheesy, and I think it was also like that the animation's weird. So like, and it's mostly those are just like singles on their faces where you want to read the emotion because it's a very emotional
Uh-huh.
song. But like, since the animation's kind of just creepy, like I think they just
Yeah.
couldn't connect with it. But the hot chocolate scene, that's the most like visually dazzling one of the songs in the movie. It doesn't seem creepy.
Yeah.
It just seems fun. And I really have to praise the first act of this movie. The first act is pretty tight.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'd agree with that as well.
Mm-hmm.
What other songs are there? I'm trying to think of ones besides those two.
I think those are the big two. Like, because I don't think there is another one. I think like they're just like blurbs that they've like little background songs they made for the movie, where like they have like the chorus children that's singing the Polar Express. Josh Groban has his belief, but that's in the end credits, so I don't think that
Right.
really counts. I think those are really it. But I think
Yeah.
it was just like that particular scene was just like, yeah, they were just kind of like, oh, teacher, I don't like this. I'm like, okay, kid, well, still watch it.
I'm not gonna skip through it.
Like, do you want to learn math in the 5 minutes of this song, or do you just want to stick through this?
Yeah, it's this song or math. Do you watch any other movies, or was that the one that you showed them?
Well, that was the one that I showed them. Just like I think I well, like just something like that's like like that felt like kid friendly. That kind of had that wonder, and there aren't too many like, and I feel like I like that one just because like they since they don't celebrate Christmas, they just want kind of like the mystique and like the kind of excitement that you have during that time. And I felt like that one really was really done well, especially from a kid's point of view, because I also did one that wasn't too violent, like violent, I'm putting in quotations, because like Home Alone, for instance, wouldn't work. I don't know if they would connect with like a Christmas story. I feel like it's kind of before their time. So I
Yeah.
just feel so like I wanted one with like a point of view of a kid, but kind of had the excitement of Christmas and like the kind of like sort of like Christmas tropes that you sort of have. I
Yeah,
guess
I agree with that. You
mhm,
don't need you don't need too much like context to
mhm,
understand the Polar Express.
mhm.
Like it's pretty, I mean, it's relatively universal in terms of its themes and story and stuff. So yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, I would also say like what I like about the movie is that its themes are like pretty like you can say the same thing about faith in terms of religion. So like I like that kind of theme of faith where like instead of like belief in God, they're like okay, I believe in Santa Claus, and like that's kind of like a nice universal theme that you can have that connects with an audience is like should you or should you not believe in this weird thing?
Hmm. Yep, is seeing believing,
Mm-hmm.
that whole thing.
Yeah. But again, it's one of those things. There aren't too many Christmas movies that kind of explore faith, if that makes sense, or at least in a believable, authentic way. Because I feel like the Christmas
Yeah.
classics are usually like, well, we'll get into them later, but like it's usually the ones where like the kids kind of like, you know, are just trying to like, I guess, get what they want or like just have fun during this Christmas time. But it doesn't really like do explore that feeling of belief where you kind of lose it at that age around like 8 to 10 is when you're like, okay, you're getting too old for this. Like, I don't like you don't believe in it anymore. But
Yeah.
even then, like that theme still follows up because I feel like constantly throughout your life, I feel like you have crisis of faith. So I feel like that's why while it works for kids, I feel like it adapts well to adults as well.
Yeah. It's kind of got it's got a little bit of a Pixar effect going on where it's like in the construct of a kids animated film, but it has themes that are relevant for all ages.
Mm-hmm.
Got a little bit of that going on, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It almost.
And then
Mhm.
no, go ahead.
And I was gonna say, like, I know we've spoken about it. Like, it kind of feels like Soul in some ways. Like, you feel like, and I feel I haven't seen it with any. Like, I haven't watched any kids. Like, I haven't talked to anybody about it really because I think we've spoken about it. Like, is it too like mature? Is it too like not necessarily dark, but like, are kids gonna really understand this movie? Because it's it's a very out there
Yeah.
movie.
Oh, I agree. Like Soul, I feel like the main point kids won't understand because they just haven't gotten to that point in their lives where they'd like get it. So I kind of wonder like, yeah, I don't know what a kid thinks of that movie.
I might show it to them at some point, just so I can understand what they think about it, because because I'm curious myself. Like I'm just, what do they think about this? Because I don't know if they could really make sense of it.
Yeah, that I would be very interested to
Yeah,
hear what they would say about it.
I should also point out like not all of them are Christian. Like in the sense of like since they don't celebrate Christmas, they're not Christian either. But it's like they don't have that concept of like they know what heaven and hell is, but like they don't necessarily follow that. It's mostly a Buddhist culture. So like, I'd be at least fascinated to hear what their insight is, considering like that's not like what their parents believe. So I'm like, okay, well, let me get your insight of what you think about this.
So is Buddhism like the primary religion, or is it a specific type
Oh,
or
over 90% of the people here are Buddhists.
interesting?
Yeah,
Wow.
the rest are kind of like Islam and then Christianity. That's kind of the mix.
Do they celebrate something at this time of year?
No, not usually. Like their holidays are like their major holidays like this are in like November and like kind of October sort of time. Yeah, but
What
like
what's the November holiday like? What's a Buddhist holiday like?
this one is the November holiday here specific to Cambodia. It's the water festival, but like that's just for like a couple of days for like a week, and that's just for them celebrating the end of the rainy season here.
Okay.
Whereas the other one is a specific Buddhist holiday. It's like a 2 week festival. So it's like you have like that's called like a Bujong Pen. That's the name of it. But it's essentially just like a Buddhist holiday. You just go there with your family early in the morning to like pagodas, and you just kind of like go there for a little bit in the morning. You pray, and then you just basically eat and drink the rest of the day.
What's it for? Like what's that festival for?
I honestly can't remember off the top of my head.
Gotcha. Just curious.
Yeah.
Sorry for the tangent.
No, all good, man. All good. But that's the kind of idea that I like watching those kind of movies with them, just so I can kind of get an idea of like what their insight is, considering like I'm kind of an insider. I know this world. They're kind of the outsiders of it.
Hmm. Yeah, no, that's true.
All right. But going back to the Polar Express, one of the critiques that I was talking to Max about this earlier this week that he can't stand is the ticket scene.
Where he's doing the words.
No, not the words. It's where like the ticket just keeps like flying around. And
Oh, it's flying around. Okay, and they're trying to
yeah,
get it.
but the whole sequence where it started, I'm like, you could have just left the ticket in her seat. You don't have to pick it up, just leave it there. This whole tangent of like 20 minutes just goes on just because like you couldn't stay seated.
Yeah, but talk about a microcosm of the bigger film. Like that poor ticket went on quite an adventure of its own too.
Again, visually dazzling, but just like it's so unnecessary because of like just stay seated. Just
You know
And-
how like in movies, like you're supposed to have scenes that are motivated for the story, and then you have this ticket scene that's going on its like on it's traveling the world.
yeah, it just goes
And then
on and on and on. And like yeah, it goes like it's bird food, then it gets like going, then passes through wolves, then it becomes this huge snowball, then it's just caught in a ventilator or some shit like that.
Yeah. I wonder what the theme is there.
Seeing is believing, kid. I think
Seeing is
it,
believing. Just
take it-
believe it'll come back.
yeah, I take it as a living thing. But yeah, like Max is just tearing that apart because it's just like just put it in your pocket or like leave it in the shoe. Why is it keep floating around? Just put like you don't have to like just leave it inside. Why are you taking it with you? Like just leave it there. Or like better.
I
or
mean
like a
that kid.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
Well, like another stretch of logic is why are they going out the caboose side on top of the train where they could just go to the front of the train? Because that's the way they got back into that last cart. They didn't go on top of the train again. They just went from the front of the train, like just walk through the carts. Why do they have to go on top of the train?
They're stupid little kids. Of course
And
they're
they can-
going on top of the train.
And the conductor, he's a dumbass too.
I
Oh,
don't know,
poor
like
Tom Hanks.
conductor's a pedophile, remember? You
Oh
don't know what's
yeah,
going
yeah,
through.
gotcha. Yeah. That's how he gets these kids.
But
Where's
I
your
will
ticket?
say, yeah, I mean, I will say our main hero, his little pocket, the entire thing was just gave me unnecessary anxiety. Like, dude, take better care of your stuff. Don't put things in that pocket.
Jesus Christ. I will say it was at least foreshadowed well. Like I'll at least give it that. I'll at least give it that due diligence.
Yeah. Do we know who directed this? Anyone significant?
Robert Zemeckis and so the Tom Hanks collaborator. So yeah, Forrest Gump and Castaway are the big two.
There you go.
Mhm. But yeah, but it does feel like a very Tom Hanks movie in that sense, like a very kind of soulful film, and it feels a lot like Forrest Gump. Like the ticket is very reminiscent of the feather in Forrest Gump. It's pretty much the same scene sort of deal, just kind of elevated to 11.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, that's very true. It's pretty cool.
Mhm. Yeah, I will say as much as easy it is to give this movie shit, it's still like an entertaining movie to watch.
Yeah, and that's why I say I try to come back to it. I haven't watched it yet, but maybe I will.
Mhm. Gotcha.
It's definitely a fun one.
Mhm. Yeah. So what are some of your other go-to Christmas movies? Like give me one or two of them.
Okay, well, I'm a pretty standard movie watcher, so nothing
Mhm.
too unusual. I mean, I'm like everyone else. I like Elf. I do kind of like the Santa Claus movies, like with Tim Allen.
Tim Allen.
Yeah, they're fun. Um, I mean, what else is out there? Christmas Story has in the past few years started to annoy me. I just feel like just because it's like overplayed, I guess.
Yeah, I get that, and I felt the same way as I've gotten older. Like, it's not a bad movie by any sense, but I just feel like it's just commercialized to like the extreme. Like
Yeah.
everything is like Christmas Story, no matter like where I went, it was just always something Christmas Story related. And I'm just like, I think the fun of it when it first came out, it was just kind of like this kind of like it felt like a little indie movie that just kind of felt very personal, and
Mhm.
like it was just never like a big blockbuster that everybody watched. But now it's kind of snowballed into like this like it was like the ultimate kind of cult Christmas movie that just kind of like just got taken to to an extreme, just to
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I blame TBS for that too, because I
Mhm.
think that's TBS that plays it, and they literally just like play it on repeat for like 3 days straight.
Yeah, I
So it's
mean,
like the only thing that's on, and so you're kind of annoyed when you just see that.
yeah, I can get that. Like, I will just say, like, there is the occasional time where I do look forward to it's like here's the thing. I will say it's a great background movie for Christmas. It is a great background. It's a great movie to have in the background just because you can go in and out of it and it's quotable.
Oh, for sure, I agree with
So,
that.
mhm.
I will say, I'll throw one curveball at you that I like that I've watched in the past couple years. It's one of the Grinch movies, but it's not the Jim Carrey one or the animated one. It's like the 3D animated one that came out like a few years ago. Um I mean it doesn't have any. Oh, Benedict Cumberbatch was the Grinch. Um
Really, I've never
and it's kind of like it's kind of like yeah, I mean, it's very like it's a Pixar kind of animation style.
okay.
Um,
All right, I'm looking up. I'm looking it up right now. Okay, now this looks familiar.
I like it a lot. I think it's got a it's I feel like it's a it just feels fresh to me. Like it's kind of it also has good music. So
Hmm.
I like the music in it, the soundtrack, and it just like has just like a freshness to it. That's kind of appealing to me. Um,
I'll probably have to give it a watch. I've never seen that one, but I have seen like the other Grinch movies, of course.
yeah, yeah. It's I mean, I don't think it's like critically rated, or I don't think it's directed by anyone noteworthy. But for me, it's just like it's a comfy, kind of fun, fresh Grinch movie, I'd say.
Hmm.
And Benedict Cumberbatch, he's a good voice actor, so I give him that for as well.
What did he play? Smaug in The Hobbit.
Yeah, he did Smog, or I don't know his name. Small. You might
Yeah,
be right.
I've actually never seen The Hobbit. Like I had zero interest in seeing it, to be quite honest.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I don't remember the dragon's name. Something like that. Smog,
Smaug,
something.
yeah.
That'd be weird if it was Smog. It's probably not Smog. All right,
What-
but I'll throw the question back at you. What's your Christmas movies look
So
like?
so I think I'm gonna get like a little cheesy here, but it is like probably the most critically acclaimed Christmas movie, and that's probably It's a Wonderful Life.
Okay. Yeah.
But I've also seen that movie. Like, I think it's the only Christmas movie I've ever seen in theaters multiple times. I have to like. There aren't many Christmas movies that get shown in theaters very often, or when they were released. I don't like. I only saw them when they were released. But What's a Wonderful Life? It always plays in a theater like that, like for like 1 or 2 weeks around Christmas, and I always made an effort to try to go see it.
Oh, that's awesome. I think
Mhm.
I don't think I've ever seen a Christmas movie in theaters.
Oh yeah, like I think. Well, again, it's like the most critically acclaimed Christmas movie, and I think it's honestly like again one of those like it doesn't really become a Christmas movie until like the second half of the movie. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, the first half is just kind of like it's kind of like a down on his luck kind of like good-hearted guy. Like, but yeah, the second half is where just like okay, now it's around Christmas time, so it feels like one half not Christmas movie, second half Christmas movie. So it's kind of an interesting thing where it's not Christmas themed throughout the entire thing. So it's kind of like an interesting sort of direction.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, that's a good pick. Is it kind of like is that a tradition for you to try and see it like in a
So
theater that's playing it?
so before COVID and before I moved here, yeah, for like 3 years, that was like a solid tradition that I had. And plus, it was like around my birthday, so I remember like for my birthday, like I want to go watch It's a Wonderful Life.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Yeah, that's a good one. Do you have any
Mhm.
other ones that are?
Um, so Elf was a big one. I had a talk with this with about one of my bosses, and I don't think it's a Christmas movie, but for him it is. And I think it's because he's British, but he told me The Goonies always comes around Christmas in the UK. I'm like, I don't know about that, but he said that's a
Okay.
Christmas movie. That's a Christmas movie. I'm like, I don't think of that as a Christmas movie, but kind of get. Maybe it's like this kind of like childhood feeling that you get like maybe around Christmas. Like I think it has that kind of like same wonder that you have. Like, and again,
Yeah,
it's an adventure movie, just like the Polar Express, that kind of like childhood wonder that you can have.
I mean, I yeah, I've never really considered the Goonies Christmas, but like I get the feeling because I have that same feeling, or I had that same feeling when the sequel Star Wars movies were coming out,
Mm-hmm.
because they try to release them around Christmas, and like they're
Mm-hmm.
not Christmas movies, but like I don't know, you kind of get in the spirit a little
Yeah.
bit.
Mm-hmm. Like
So I get where he's coming from.
mhm. Yeah, but like but yeah, did I mention Home Alone as another one?
You didn't, but that makes
Okay.
sense.
Yeah, Home Alone 1 and 2. I remember watching the shit out of those growing up as a kid. Like that, like VHS, wore out the tape sort of deal on rewind.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that
I
was like
like
the oh, go ahead.
no yeah, I'd say those are good ones for me as well. I like them.
Mhm. I think it's also the first time I ever saw Joe Pesci in a movie. And like that's like the very and like when you're thinking about the Joe Pesci roles, that's like the most tame he's ever been, especially coming off a film like Goodfellas, where he's like a sadistic psychopath.
Yeah. This one's you know, little less rough around the edges, but still has the edges, Joe Pesci.
Uh, but again, it's just that's like almost a pure comedy role. Like he always plays like some sort of like drop. He plays some sort of like emotional drama in his roles. Not too heavy, but I feel like in terms of a pure comedy role, that's like quintessential Joe Pesci. Like it's just pure comedy. Like I feel like he gets a laugh on every scene that he's in. He's a total scene stealer. But even like you can
Mhm.
say that for almost every character in that movie, they're like total scene stealers. Because like if you even think of the side characters in that movie, like Buzz, who's in like what 2 scenes,
Mhm.
like total scene stealer. Then you have Marv, and like him and Joe Pesci, just like it really feels like ping pong because like I can't like you just because they're just so like both iconic and have such good chemistry that they can just really like they just take it from each other.
Yeah. No, I think yeah, I feel like they really struck gold kind of like with the casting. Everyone yeah, everyone works well together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that one was that's a another fun one. It's kind of like a I don't know. You it's 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 like it's almost like you're living out every kid's dream
Mm-hmm.
of like making your house a fortress.
Oh, do you want to hear a fun fact about that movie?
Hmm.
Okay. So do you know the scene where Kevin is going into Buzz's room? Like, do you know that
Yeah.
scene? Okay, well, do you know remember the scene where he's just like, Buzz, your girlfriend, Wolf? Do you know?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so the person in that picture, Chris Columbus, the director, he didn't like want to put an actual girl in there because he thought that'd be too insulting. So what he did, I think he put his son in girl makeup and just took a picture of that and that's in the film. What a dad.
Jeez. Wonder how his son feels about that.
I mean, like, honestly, that's not a low blow to his son because he's not a girl. But that would be, but like,
Yeah.
I do get his thinking because because this is a film that's going to be shown worldwide. So like, it's been a cult comedy since like almost 30 years now. So like, thinking about it in hindsight, that's honestly a great decision because do you imagine just being that girl at like 10 years old where you're just being like considered the ugliest fucking girl in the biggest blockbuster?
Yeah, I guess you take that as a point of pride. It was the biggest blockbuster, right?
Wolf. It still boggles
Yeah.
my mind how popular that movie was at the time. Like it was like a top 10 like greatest like box office top 10 like acclaimed.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely yeah. Even yeah, today the support and the people who like it or it's so strong.
Mm-hmm.
Def, definitely made a mark.
Mm-hmm. I'll honestly say, like, even though the second one is essentially like the same formula as the first one, I will say it's just as entertaining. Like, it just takes that same formula, but it's still like it has that same sort of like chemistry with the characters. Again, well casted. Tim Curry's in the second one, and I think he
Hmm.
plays a very overlooked villain or like kind of anti-hero.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
I don't. I've only seen the first one. I haven't seen the second or third, or I don't know if there
Yeah,
are other ones.
dude, there's like six of them now. Like again, like they're just like the straight to VOD or like straight to like yeah, sort of deal. But
Nice.
the second one is the only one noteworthy. The third one actually has Scarlett Johansson before she became famous.
As like a kid.
Yeah, as like a kid. I think she was like 13 or something, like 12 or 13, something like that.
Interesting.
Mhm.
Hmm. I assume was the second one also Chris Columbus?
Yeah, they're both Chris Columbus. And again, that guy, like, he makes good movies. Like, I was actually
Yeah.
like, I was I was watching Rent the other day. I don't know if you ever heard of that movie. Like, it's the movie based off the musical.
Yeah. Yeah,
That
I've
was
heard of
another
it.
that was another Chris Columbus. I mean, not a good movie, just in sense of like it's just because it just feels like, like you could tell that it was just like pretty much a theater adaptation. Like it didn't really make anything to like kind of separate itself to like make it like a movie. It just felt very much like a set where like they just shot a bunch of musical numbers, not necessarily like a cohesive
Mhm.
movie. But still, like I appreciate Chris Columbus like good-hearted nature, and I like even like the Harry Potter movies. I feel like they have this kind of same wonder that and feelings that you had in Home Alone show as well in the Harry Potter franchise. Even those, I feel like Christmas movies, to be quite honest.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I'd
I feel.
say
Mhm.
if you ask my mom what her favorite Christmas movies are, she'd just say Harry Potter because that's what
Yeah,
she likes.
because like now that I'm thinking about it, like it's less so in the latter films. They don't really have any Christmas scene. Like I would say like four to whatever, like four onward, don't really have any Christmas scenes. Maybe the Order of the Phoenix has one, but one to three, they make a big. I feel like they make a relatively big deal about Christmas in each of those
Yeah, they
films.
do. Were they released on Christmas time? Do you know? Into
I
theaters?
I can't remember. I don't think the third one was, but they always made a big time. Like, but that movie, they really made it a big deal to kind of have like its emotional kind of like midpoint be around Christmas. Because I think that midpoint in The Prisoner of Azkaban is where Harry found out like Sirius killed his parents. And I think like it was supposed to be during that time where like you're supposed to be most gleeful is probably his most depressing time.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, at least for me, like some of the first images I have of Harry Potter are like a snowy Hogwarts, or
Mm-hmm.
just like, or just like a like the common areas where like with everyone bundled up and a big fire going.
Mm-hmm.
Like you get those wintry just images just immediately when you
Yeah.
think of those movies.
Yeah, and even then, just like thinking back to the first film, like I remember like the Christmas scenes, like Hagrid bringing in the tree. You see like Ron and Harry playing wizard chess. Then you see him get the invisibility cloak, and they were like, so they made a big deal about that time because the invisibility cloak became like a huge like not MacGuffin. I don't know what the right word is like for what it was used throughout the franchise, but it was just like they made it a big deal for it to be given to him at Christmas. So I think that was really,
Mhm.
and it was like the real first Christmas where like I think he got like a gift because you're under the impression maybe he didn't get anything back when he was with the Dursleys.
Mhm. Was was the broom also a Christmas gift, or is that something like a different time?
And Nimbus 2, maybe the Nimbus 2000. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't a Christmas gift. I think it was a gift from McGonagall right before his first Quidditch match.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
What
yeah.
about the Ron's ugly sweater?
Oh yeah, that's always been a recurring thing. Yeah, but yeah, that was always like the recurring thing that he got around Christmas. That or like a scarf or some shit like that. Or like no,
Yeah.
Harry got the scarf. I think is what it was.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm. but I feel like that's like an interesting rare category where like they're not Christmas movies, but like well technically, but I feel like they're always shown around Christmas time, but they have very specific Christmas scenes. And they always wanted to revolve around a school year, and I think that's what helps it. Those scenes in particular.
Mm-hmm. It's the midpoint, yeah.
Mhm.
School year and in the movie. That makes sense. Well, I mean, another one besides Harry Potter, at least on my end, is like Lord of the Rings. I like watching those around Christmas time.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's another, I don't know, these adventure movies, man. Um, but like Lord of the Rings is something that like I'll probably watch in the next week or so, just because it's, I don't know, it's it's not anything like a Christmas movie. There's not even like Harry Potter-esque like scenes that revolve
Mhm.
around that time, but it's just kind of like it's an adventure movie. It's like, I don't know. I think you get a sense of like comfort watching like this big like physical like journey go on
Mhm.
while you're in your warm home, I guess, or whatever.
Fair.
Um, but that yeah, the Lord of the Rings are like Christmas time movies, at least on my end.
Yeah. No, it's actually, I'm glad you brought that up because I've been trying to figure out what are like the common tropes of like Christmas movies. And I think something I just figured out was maybe like escapist cinema is like one of the go-to things for like the Christmas time. Like these adventure movies, like you feel like you can escape. Like I feel like if you look at Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, The Polar Express, it's not only just adventure, but it's out of the real world.
Yeah, I think like the adventure is kind of like a base element, but then you get other things like, I don't know. I'm starting to think that even just like like Narnia is also could be like a Christmas time movie as well, and that's
Totally fair.
because you get the adventure, but you also get that escapism aspect where like this whole other world is happening, and you just, I don't know.
Yeah, and I feel like it's also, I mean, like one part is like the scenery. Like I feel like the first one, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, where like I'm blanking on the characters' names, but James McAvoy's character, where he's like half goat. Like that's a very
Yeah,
Christmassy sort of
Tumnus,
hummus. Okay, but like
Tumnus,
hummus. Okay, sorry, hummus. I thought we were talking about food.
Mr. Humnus.
Mr. Mr. Hummus. but 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 yeah, like I feel like the scenery in that film feels very Christmassy because you have like his moments around his hut or like his little shack, and then you have like what is it, the Queen, which is
Yeah.
kind of like a
Oh
kind of
yeah.
like this ice sort of vibe.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you get one of the iconic scenes in that one is the Turkish delights when he's sitting on her sled.
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure her sled's like carried by, I might be totally off, but isn't her sled like carried by like reindeer things that don't
Something
fly? But
I haven't seen that movie in maybe like 15 years. So like
yeah,
you
that's been
would
a
know
while
better
for
than
you
me.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean that's another one. I think, I mean, the thing I was kind of getting at too is like it makes those Christmas movies like those, or Christmas movies like those, make you feel like a sense of coziness. Like I
Mhm.
feel cozy when you're like, I don't know. I think there's a philosophical thing where like you're inside a safe place, but the outside world is like rainy or cold. Like that's why people feel cozy on a rainy day, because
Mhm.
it might be storming outside, but you're indoors where it's like safe. And that's kind of how I feel watching these kind of movies.
Mhm.
Like Lord of the Rings, they're traversing the entire Middle Earth, and you're sitting in the comfort of your own home, and you just
Yeah.
get a sense of coziness from it.
Mhm. Yeah, I would agree. Like, I feel like feel good movies are like the ones to kind of go to for Christmas. I feel like that's part of it. It's just like most of them are like feel good, but I've been thinking about this. So Christmas movies that aren't Christmas movies, Shane Black movies, like The Nice Guys, for instance, like
Yeah.
he constantly has like Christmas kind of like layered in his movie. So like Iron Man 3 has a little bit, or like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, Lethal Weapon. They kind of have these little Christmas scenes, and like in like the Nice Guys, for instance, it kind of has the adverse effect of like coziness. It's the at the very end of the movie where they're kind of like Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe just at the bar drinking.
Okay.
Yeah, so like it's kind of like, yeah, they definitely lost everything, but it's their kind of like only moment where they could just kind of like, I guess, kind of bask in their pseudo success. I guess I don't know how to quite describe it, but it's definitely when they're kind of like, at least Russell Crowe, he's at his like his lowest peak is at Christmas time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it's the same for Lethal Weapon. Is that like Mel? I haven't actually seen it maybe about like 10 years, but like I think Mel Gibson had the same thing, where like his character was probably the most lonely during Christmas.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Mhm. It's okay, but like I think it's an interesting like direction, because we're talking about like Christmas being cozy. Well, like okay, well, how do you show like the adverse effect of it? Well, if you're a loner during this time, it's hit even harder as opposed to like
Mhm.
any other holiday.
That's true. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Trying to think what else is out there.
Well, what do you think about Die Hard as a Christmas movie?
Is it a Christmas movie? Honestly, I don't care.
Yeah. Well, like here's
It's
the
a good
thing.
movie.
Well, like that's really the thing. Like, is it a Christmas movie? It takes place around Christmas. I don't call it a Christmas movie exactly. Like, like it just happens to take around Christmas. But I wouldn't say like, because if you take the time period out of it, it'll still be a good movie. It'll still be pretty
Yeah.
much the same movie.
Yeah, but I feel like that's the main argument there,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like you take it out, it's the same movie, really.
Mm-hmm. Because I
That
feel like, yeah, if you place it around like say Thanksgiving, I'm like, yeah, no one's gonna bat an eye. Like, yeah, it's still Die Hard. Like, just happens to take around Thanksgiving. But you can't do that
yeah,
with you can't do that with like Harry Potter, for instance. I feel like Christmas is a very deliberate choice to have it around Christmas. I don't
yeah,
think Thanksgiving, or like it just wouldn't work with another holiday, I think. But I think for
yeah,
like, yeah, I think for Die Hard, it could work for like anything, any other time.
yeah. I'd say I kind of agree with that as well.
Mhm.
I'm kind of on your side there. That makes sense. But I know it's a very heated topic. That's the main question whenever you talk about Die Hard these
Yeah,
days.
yeah, I mean, like I'm not doubting it's a good movie. Like it is a good movie, but it's just if you're gonna say it's a Christmas movie, I'm gonna butt heads with you because I don't think it's a Christmas movie.
Yeah, I'm gonna lay out the reasons why you're wrong. Boom,
Mhm.
boom, boom.
Yeah, like and that's really the thing. Like is like I think that's really the main argument. Like if they were to switch the time periods of the movie to like a different month, could it still be the same movie? And I think no. Like
Is that how you classify a Christmas movie?
not necessarily. I mean, I will say like a Christmas movie that's not a Christmas movie is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. It's not a Christmas movie technically, but it feels very much like a Christmas movie. Like,
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, I mean, because the only reason you can't consider it is because it doesn't take place around Christmas, but it's a Thanksgiving movie. I'm like, but everything else is Christmas related, like trying to get home for the holidays, like the atmosphere is correct, like snow and everything like that. Like it's pretty
Mhm.
much the same, like it's the whole scenery is what you, and like the whole plot feels very much like a Christmas movie. Like you're just trying to get home for the holidays. And I think that's like a common thing that you find in a lot of stories. Like you just want to be with family. But like, but it's not, but like the twist though is that like, well, it's not Christmas, it's Thanksgiving. And I feel like that's like the only great Thanksgiving movie that I can think of. I don't think there's any other great Thanksgiving movie.
Yeah. Oh, you got me thinking about if I can name another Thanksgiving movie.
I don't think there's any. I mean, like what, a Charlie Brown Thanksgiving? That doesn't, I don't think that really counts. I mean, it's a good cartoon, but like as like a legitimate like feature, I don't think there's another good Thanksgiving movie out there.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
gonna do some research.
yeah.
I'm gonna see. I'm gonna test that.
Yeah, but it was like the perfect predecessor because John Hughes was also a part of making Home Alone. So like that was like the perfect precursor for him to kind of get that tone right that
Yeah,
eventually kind of went into Home Alone.
gotcha.
Yeah. But like again, but here, have you seen Planes, Trains, and Automobiles?
Yeah, but it's been a while. I have though.
Yeah, and well, like I think it's the perfect buddy movie to be quite honest. Like it's the like if you ever want to take the conventions of a buddy movie, like I think that's the plot to follow. I think that's it, or at least if you want a feel good buddy movie.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that for sure.
Yeah, but
When 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 was that again? I forget. Like,
80, 87, 88 maybe
oh, okay.
like
I was
mid to
thinking
late
of it.
80s. Yeah,
Okay.
but John Candy, masterful performance. Like it, I think it's very easy for like if you haven't, it's very easy to call that movie like a masterpiece. Like, well, John Candy, a great actor, but I feel like that's the movie that like showcases his talent the best because he's like one of those like he's really annoying or could be considered really annoying, but he's so like heartfelt and good natured, you just can't help but like him.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I'd say that's probably my favorite performance of his that I've
yeah.
seen.
Mm-hmm. Well, like I mean, because that's the thing. Like he has like a similar performance in say like Uncle Buck. Like again, like I mean, it feels like a pseudo precursor to Home Alone as well because it has Macaulay Culkin.
Uh-huh.
But again, it's just like it has like he's got that sort of feeling that. And oh yeah, also in Home Alone. I don't know why I almost forgot the John Candy's in Home Alone as well.
Yeah, he's in Home Alone.
Yeah. Did you know he shot all of his scenes in one day?
I didn't know that.
And in a single, like I think it was like a 22 hour day. They only had it for a single day and they shot all of the scenes.
Wow.
Yeah. So like,
Jeez.
yeah. So like all the scenes are in the truck, all the scenes that was in the airport. And I think most of it was improv too.
Honestly, I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that looking back on those scenes.
Mm-hmm. And I have to give like he was fucking drowned with work, I'm sure that day. But think about like he's got again, like when we're talking about scene stealers and Home Alone, like how well casted that is, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like he was literally in the movie for maybe like 4 or 5 minutes of total screen time. And he's kind of like a mega comedy star, like at the time. So, and again, you're going up against Joe Pesci, who just won the Oscar at that time too. So like you're really kind of like butting heads, like who's the better actor? I'm blanking on the guy that played Marv, and then like Macaulay Culkin gave probably like arguably the best childhood performance at that time, with the exception of maybe Tatum O'Neal. It's just like you're really like putting up like probably the best performances for a Christmas movie at that like up there. So you really have to give credit.
Like the way you talk about it, it makes me wonder, like, would you consider this an ensemble movie? It doesn't feel like an ensemble movie, but
it does feel like that, but it's still like a main character film, Macaulay Culkin with supporting characters, but there are so many side scene moments, like because it's not like it's not like Macaulay Culkin's in every scene.
No,
like it's not like a Forrest Gump. It's not like a Forrest Gump movie where he's in every scene, but they take time with the side characters to have their own scenes with each other, specifically with the mom, Catherine O'Hara.
Catherine O'Hara, yeah.
Yeah. Also, like became super famous because of Schitt's Creek. Like again, this movie's so fucking well casted. And again, like having those scenes with like John Candy, and then Marv and Harry all both together, like having those two, like they're basically just having these like really nice subplots to like the main character story.
Yeah. Were all these actors, I mean, it's hard for me just because it's years later when I saw it, but like were all these actors like Joe Pesci was obviously big, but like was Catherine O'Hara and other people big as they are now at that time?
Well, the exception of John Candy, no. I mean, I don't think any of them were, like, because I think Catherine O'Hara, this was like a bit of her breakout sort of thing that at least has sustained her career, but her other big performance is probably in Schitt's Creek. So it's like Home Alone and Schitt's Creek is what she's most famous for. Because who else is in Home Alone that might be like pseudo famous
Gotcha.
is what I'm trying to think of.
Yeah.
No, I think that's pretty much it.
Mm.
But then, yeah,
Who's the dad?
I'm blanking on his name. I feel like I see him in bits and pieces. Like I think he was in
Yeah,
Big.
Some
but-
guy.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. But yeah, I don't remember. But again, like Big has a bit of a Christmas scene too, I think. Isn't that when they're in the toy store with the piano? Isn't that during the Christmas time? Or am I thinking of something else?
Well, I know that. Yeah, that scene does happen.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it is Christmas time or not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't remember if there was Christmas. And what was there Christmas at all in Big?
I don't know, but it does feel like a bit of that sort of same vibe. But again, like I feel like again that's like a Tom Hanks film. Like I mean, he's such like a feel good character that I feel like you almost want to associate like a lot of his films with that
Yeah.
sort of feeling that you have.
Yeah, but also like I mean, he was a toy maker. Like,
Yeah.
that's also a big Christmas thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
Speaking of toy
Sure.
films, you ever see Jingle All the Way?
I don't think so.
Oh, it's with it's with Sinbad and Arnold Schwarzenegger. And like and they're just trying to get this like big like superhero action figure for their kid. And yeah, that's basically the whole movie is just him trying to get this this toy for his kid for Christmas. That's basically the whole plot of the movie.
That's hilarious. I'm looking
Yeah.
it up.
Mm-hmm. Jingle All the Way.
Yeah, no,
But-
I've never seen this.
It's during that time of where Arnold Schwarzenegger was just like making like really weird comedy movies. Like he like it was like post Twins with Danny DeVito. Like he had that. He also had a movie named Mr. Mom. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. No, not Mr. Mom. No, that's a Michael Keaton film. I'm blanking on the film title right now, but he's got a movie where he gets pregnant. And yes, that is a real movie. He like Arnold Schwarzenegger gets pregnant with
Is
Danny
it
DeVito.
Junior?
Junior, that's it. Yes. That's Junior.
Yeah, it's called Junior.
It's mind-boggling.
Danny DeVito and Emma Thompson.
Mm-hmm. It's mind-blowing. That's a movie.
Yeah, that sounds a little scary.
But yeah, like I've never really watched Jingle All the Way growing up. I mean, like I think maybe I watched it once or twice, but I think it was just like, you know, we're talking about like toy making during that time or just trying to get your again, like it's an interesting movie, is all I have to say. But sorry, one more thing I want to touch up upon. So we mostly talked about Christmas movies. But a Christmas special, I always find myself going back to, even if it's not around Christmas time, or like South Park Christmas specials.
Okay.
All right, and then
I was never much of a South Park person, so
yeah. I mean, I have a feeling like the way I feel about South Park is how some people felt about like the Peanuts, like Charlie Brown, kind of like in that same realm, like watching those specials.
yeah.
I feel the same way with South Park, and I think one of them is called Woodland Christmas Critters. It's so dark. It's probably the darkest Christmas special of anything, but it's just so off the wall and hilarious and batshit crazy that like, that's kind of why I like it. Because you have like the good-hearted, like serious, like It's a Wonderful Life. It's a great movie, but just like, you know, it's very like drama heavy, like, you know, it's very emotional. Like, but then I get something off the wall, batshit crazy just to juxtapose that as like Woodland Christmas Critters.
Mm.
There's a part of me that like I want to show you that because it's so like because it's everything that you want in a Christmas movie, like or like a Christmas sort of special, but it's just taken to 11 of how dark it gets. Like really, really dark.
So is it not feel good?
Here's the thing, the way they shape it up, it's actually feel good. It just gets dark. It's technically a feel good Christmas story, but it's so dark at the same time. Like, do you want me to I can either send it to you or like do you want me to go through the story with you for a sec?
I'll watch it, but if you want to give me a little synopsis, I'm down.
Okay, so like I feel like okay, well like
If you
I
don't
feel
want
like
to
I
spoil it,
yeah, like I don't know if it's your cup of tea because like it gets really dark. Like and again, but it's shown in like a pretty like feel good way.
I mean that intrigues me enough. What, just send me the name. I'll watch it.
Yeah, hold on. I'll send you a link actually. Hold on. So just a second. But it's one of those things that like for those who have seen it, like they like I feel like they get where my head is where like it's feel good, but it's super dark, but you kind of praise it because just like it's the most different Christmas special that's just like, really out there. Like because the first like 8 minutes plays like fairly normal, like a normal Christmas special. And then like once like the first commercial break hits, you're just like, what the fuck?
Jeez.
Yeah. But like let me just show it to you. But it is like considered one of the best like episodes of South Park.
Is this your favorite like Christmas special of theirs?
Yeah, definitely. But again, like I also but like aside from like the actual episode itself, I praise it for also being like kind of like on a technical level, like how it was made. Because I don't know if you're familiar with like with what Matt Stone and Trey Parker did in 2004, where like they made Team America.
Not really.
Okay. Well, it's a feature length movie, and like with marionette puppets, it was even more difficult, I think. But during that time in 2004, when they or like 2003, when they made like that movie, they shot 2 seasons of South Park in between that movie. So they shot a season of South Park, made a feature film with marionette puppets, and then shot another season of South Park. So they did a full year of nonstop work. And like,
Wow. Okay.
yeah, so just like you have to praise them for, and this was like the very last episode that they did, and they were just so like burnt out that they're like, okay, like we just had this whole hellhole of a year that we made like 2 seasons of South Park, we made this feature film, and like, okay, we're on the last episode, and they couldn't think of any ideas for the show. So like, and I don't know if you're familiar with this, how they make South Park, but they make their shows beginning to end in a week, like from like idea to finish to air in 6 days.
So what you're saying is this special is made out of like delirium and exhaustion and fumes?
A bit, but it's actually considered like one of the like top 10 episodes of South Park.
It's so artistic masterpiece came out of kind of just like them being just like exhausted.
Yeah, I mean because they couldn't really think of any ideas like because in their first 2 days of the show. So what they just decided to do, they just went with their first, like they were just so exhausted, they just went with the first idea that came into their heads, like because they're running out of time. So they're just like, screw it, we're just doing this idea. And then they made the whole episode, which they usually make an episode in 6 days. They did this in 3 days, beginning to end.
Wow.
Like from idea to writing the script to doing all the animation to air in like 3.5 days.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
So,
I'll
like,
give it a watch.
All right. Again, like watch once you get to the first commercial break, like 10 minutes in, you'll get what I mean. You'll just be like, oh shit. Like
Yeah,
no wonder
I'm a
this
little
is like
scared.
yeah.
I'm a little scared, but I trust that it'll wrap up nicely.
Okay. All right. But just here's the thing. We'll wrap this up here in a moment because we're coming up on the hour. But like but just do me a favor, just watch it. Just shoot me a message just about what you think. Like, because I know you don't watch South Park either. So like I don't know how you'll feel about this.
Okay. Yeah. What's a non-South Parky think of this crazy dark episode?
Yeah. But you'll get what I mean though when like you watch it.
Okay. Okay. Cool. I'm excited.
All right. Okay, man. I think we're gonna wrap that up. But like that was kind of like a weird turn of like beginning with the Polar Express, ending with South Park Woodland Christmas Critters. But like kind
Honestly,
of like
with you, I'm never surprised that we don't that we don't end it with South Park. I mean, I'm always ready for South Park to come up in the conversation.
It's just it's such a I feel like it's one of those rare shows where like I've legitimately studied it. Like I've read books about it, like
You took a
philosophically. I have to
class.
it's just it is a smart show. Like it's
Yeah.
a very very smart show. But like I'll digress. I'll digress. But
No, I respect that.
yeah. All right. But yeah. I guess to kind of wrap things up, I think we kind of discussed that like I feel like the key things, I guess, with Christmas movies, like, or at least we're thinking about tropes, I guess kind of like the cozy feeling that you have during the time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. And I think an adventure movie
Hmm.
makes a good one. Or I don't know. For me, I like Christmas movies where you have a literal adventure.
Hmm.
But like I think maybe the more core feeling is the escapism. Because like
Hmm.
Home Alone, they're not traveling great distances in that movie, but you still
Hmm.
get a sense of like fantasy and in a different reality sort of in that movie.
Yeah. I'll also say I feel like that's like one of the rare slapstick Christmas comedies, if that makes sense. A little bit like National Lampoon's like Christmas Vacation, but like I feel like
Yeah,
that's less so, I think.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
All right.
So
Okay, man. I'll let you go. But thanks again for the call. Just seriously, let me know. Get to the first commercial break and just let me know what you think. It's like 10 minutes in, just like I'm just super curious. I'm really
I mean,
curious.
I'll watch. I'm gonna watch the whole thing. Like
Yeah.
it's not a question,
All
but
right.
yeah, when I do, I'll let you know what I think.
All right. Sounds good, man. All right,
All
dude.
right.
Take it easy. All right, man.
Yeah. Merry Christmas.
Merry
It's good
Christmas,
to see
man.
you.
Yeah, good seeing
Yeah.
you too. Take it
I'll
easy. All
talk.
right.
Yeah. Talk to you later.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.